Falling your way, falling for you. I fell today in every way.
Well, it's weird because it wasn't planned. I never thought to myself that I would actually make another album. It's been 9 years since I did Memory. Since then I've only done an EP and a single, and I didn't ever think that I would do another album. And the last couple of years, in all honesty, have just been concentrated on stuff that I do with YouTube and work, and uploading content for YouTube that has nothing related to my music. And so that's what my life has been about for the last couple of years. However, a couple of years ago I did start writing some demos, and I knew they were good songs and I couldn't let them go, but I'd only written part of the song. And about 7 months ago, I decided to take a break from YouTubing because of stuff that was happening in my personal life with work. And it was at that time that I just stopped doing the YouTube content that all of a sudden I just thought, oh, I'll go and have a look at these songs. And then it just sort of clicked. Things started happening straight away. I know I'd recently just come back from a holiday in the Canary Islands, and it was a specifically really good holiday, and I got the opportunity to listen to some really great music out there and got some great influence. And I think, the ball just started rolling, and before I knew it, I had sort of 5 or 6 tracks that were almost there, and I started thinking to myself, geez, I could probably, if I continue like this, I could do an album. And that's how it came about. And so I never actually intended or ever had a conscious thought about, oh, I'm going to make an album. Just got to a point where I just thought, actually, why not? Because there's enough stuff here, and I was really enjoying the process. It's awesome if anybody out there is like-minded and likes making, is very creative. You will understand what I mean by the fact that it was just flowing, and it was effortless and didn't need to be really thought about. And so therefore I've really enjoyed the process, and I'm glad that I've done this album.
Up, down, left or right, it doesn't matter which direction you choose tonight, because you're not feeling the heart of me. If you want to see the magic, you just gotta believe.
Well, I would say the inspiration primarily is the 80s, or it's a number of things really. The 80s, was my generation. I sort of grew up and went into my early teens throughout the 80s. So it was a significant decade for me. But I've had things that I've digested recently that have just sort of reawoken that kind of magic memory of the 80s, and just some of the brilliant music, and just how life was back then. And that's been brought about by things in the media, like watching Strange Things, and just some of the great things that they do with the score on there, and how they make it so fitting, where that's set in the 80s. And then another big part of it was just me remembering how, or what inspired me to do what I did when I first started off writing music or performing. And that was great bands, and British bands like Pet Shop Boys and Depeche Mode, and Eurythmics and Duran Duran, and the list goes on. Just some of these amazing artists throughout the 80s, along with all the other inspirations that I had from across the globe, like Michael Jackson, etc. But for me, as a vocalist and as a writer, I was initially inspired by that sort of spoken poetry that you kind of got from Pet Shop Boys, or you know, that kind of vocal. So I remembered that that was what I was listening to when I first started writing poetry, because that's how it all started for me. And you know, just going back to that kind of vibe of how I used to think about writing and how I used to think about music, and just not thinking that I have to fit into a box, and I hope the album doesn't seem like it fits into a box. The other inspiration for the album, I guess, is just that my journey over the last couple of years, just the ups and downs. You know, there is a darker side to, you know, one side of the album. And when I say darker, I don't mean like, ooh, scary, but I just mean, you know, it's the time where I wasn't in my best place. And then the rest of the album, you know, sort of depicts where things began to sort of fall into place for me, and I became a lot more comfortable with my sort of mental health awareness and things like that. So yeah, there's a lot of inspirations for the album, but the album is called The Magic Monkey simply because track 1 is the magic and track 2 is the monkey. And when I sort of decided upon that, I just thought, actually, that's a great title for the album, The Magic Monkey. So the Magic Monkey title itself doesn't mean anything per se. It's just I liked those two songs where I'd chosen them as number 1 and 2 on the track listing, and just thought it was a great title for the album.
Looking your way today. This could be fun. You could be
I guess I would just ask people to take it for what it is. I mean, one of the things that might come across quite clearly is that as an artist or as a songwriter, I'm very eclectic, and that's because, you know, my journey of creativity started really from an acting perspective, and I did a lot of theatre when I was younger. And when I write songs or music, I can't help but think along the lines of a character. And so a lot of my songs, I find myself getting into the character of the person who's, you know, telling the story within the song. And I guess in the past I've seen that as a negative thing, but talking to friends recently, you know, and I saw it as a negative thing because I didn't think that I then had a particular sound or a particular style. But it took some friends to make me realize that you know, that is my particular sound and style, just to expect the unexpected, and no 1-2 songs are terribly similar, or I find it hard, extremely hard. Like when I uploaded this album, I have to say what genre I think it is, and I just don't really know what to say, because there's tracks on the album that are very dancey, there's tracks on the album that are very hip-hop, there's tracks on the album that are very bluesy, you know, so there's a lot of different mishmash of styles, and that's my thing, and I hope people enjoy that aspect about the album and don't see it as a negative thing. And that would be the one thing, that my last thing that I'd like to say about the album. But as you said, in the next video, I'm going to talk through each of the songs and just give a bit of a quick overview of what they mean or what they're about, or what influenced them, and hopefully when the album's released, that might give people a better understanding of each track.
I believe in magic. I know